Hi, my name is Taylor Young, and I'm doing an Ignite presentation on violence in video games. So this presentation addresses three main points. Point one being the different types of tests and research done. Point two being the different sides of the argument. And point three is the question, why is violence so popular? Here is a list of the 10 most popular violent video games in 2011. There are plenty of other alternates, and one game that was actually astonishing that I saw was someone made a Columbine RPG shooter game. So my first issue I'm going to cover is different types of tests and research conducted. Mostly all of the research had to do with some type of aggression test, but also age and gender and brain analysis tests were involved. Next, I'm going to cover both sides of the argument for whether violent video games cause people to be violent and do violent acts, or whether they have no significant effect on gamers. There are many reasons that people are drawn to violence. For violent video games, for one, they have conflict, they produce excitement, and violence is known to sell. Looking at aggression tests, there was a study done, and it shows that being around violence can lead to aggressive acts. In the table, it shows that about 63% of boys who played high-content violent games were in physical fights. Moving on to gender studies, a study was done to see how each gender reacted to violent games. For females, acted more emotionally, and males reacted more aggressively. fMRI stands for functional magnetic resonance images. There was a study at the University of Indiana that showed a direct relationship between playing violent video games over an extended period of time and change in cognitive functioning. The results show that the affected brain regions were the ones that control emotion and aggressive behavior, indicating that violent video game play has a long-term effect on brain functioning. So for the yes side, aggression, people think that aggression is linked to violence and it promotes violent thoughts and emotions. There was a study done in 2010 that showed 21% of video games showed violence against women, which could actually teach, people think they could teach people to treat women disrespectfully. Also, it teaches problem solving with violence or aggression, and that decreases cognitive accessibility. Games also cause desensitization to violence, and studies show that P3000 amplitudes are reduced in the brain. For the no side of the argument, studies show crime rates in the U.S. are significantly lower in the past 20 years. As we read in Taking Sides, there really isn't any conclusive evidence. So some big factors are also mental stability and home life of the person playing violent games. People who had bad childhood are probably going to be affected differently than those who have good childhoods. Lastly, people see violent video games as entertainment and find them fun. Gamers realize they're just really playing a game and can distinguish fantasy from reality, and it provides a safe way to get aggression out. So why are people drawn to violence? Well, we know violence has been known to sell, whether it is in video games, movies, or TV shows. Relating to video games, people are interested in certain games, and when new versions come out, they want to buy them. For example, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is one of the highest selling games in the country. It currently has sold over 40 million copies in the US. I currently own one and play it almost every single day. Conflict is the most important part in creating a video game. And the easiest way to create conflict is through violence. It makes it more interesting and appealing to the public. Along with conflict, every human has a primal instinct, and violence can trigger it. The excitement that people get when playing a violent game triggers stress hormones that are like having an adrenaline rush. So, to review the last few exciting minutes, I covered the types of tests and research done, the pros and cons of the argument for violence in violent video games, and hopefully answer the question, why is violence popular? So before you subject yourself or a loved one to a violent video game, be sure you know the personality type of yourself or others while paying attention to the content rating on the game or advice.